After the Hornet and the retro-styled CB1000F, Honda's expanding the CB lineup once again with a new crossover sport tourer, the CB1000GT. So now it's time to see how this new GT stacks up against the class leaders, Suzuki's GSX-S1000GX and Yamaha's Tracer 9. When it comes to horsepower, the Suzuki takes first place with 152 horses, followed closely by the Honda. Meanwhile, the Tracer, with the smallest engine and the fewest cylinders, sits at the bottom. The Suzuki also pulls ahead in torque, followed again by the CB, and yeah, the Tracer comes in last here too. No replacement for displacement. But weight is where the Tracer fights back. It comes in at just 219 kilograms. That's 10 kilograms lighter than the CB and 13 kilograms lighter than the Suzuki. Even so, it still isn't enough to make up the gap, because in terms of power-to-weight ratio, the GSX-S stays on top, though just barely ahead of the CB, while the Tracer ends up in last place. Powering the Suzuki and Honda are inline-4 engines borrowed from their Street Fighter siblings. The CB uses the Hornet's engine, but with different gearing for its sport touring role. Second to fifth are shorter for better acceleration, while sixth is a long gear for relaxed highway cruising. The GSX-S GX, meanwhile, uses the exact same engine setup as the GT variant. As for the Tracer, it runs the same inline-3 from the MT-09. And while the others are full-liter bikes, the Tracer only has 890cc, which explains why it's down on power compared to the other two. Their compression ratios also line up with their power output, and all three use a conventional DOHC valve train. As for the transmission, each one comes with a 6-speed box with slip-in assist clutch. In the electronics department, all three are pretty well equipped. They come with a 6-axis IMU and ride-by-wire, which unlocks cornering ABS, power modes, and lean-sensitive traction control. On top of that, cruise control and a TFT dash with Bluetooth connectivity come standard. The Tracer goes a bit further with individually adjustable slide control, wheelie control, and engine brake control. On the Honda and Suzuki, those features are tied to the traction control system, though Honda still gives you adjustable engine brake control separately. However, the base model Tracer misses out on electronic suspension, and both the quickshifter and Yamaha's YMT semi-auto transmission are optional or reserved for the higher trim GT model. Meanwhile, Honda and Suzuki include electronic suspension, and a quickshifter is standard, and Honda even throws in center stand, rear panniers, smart key system, heated grips, and knuckle guards right out of the box. Both the GX and the Tracer use an aluminum perimeter frame, while the CB sticks with a steel frame. Forefront suspension. Both the CB and GX show as semi-active electronically adjustable forks. It automatically adjusts damping based on bike speed, IMU data, and fork stroke to give you the best setup for any situation. Meanwhile, the Tracer only gets a basic upside-down fork, with the electronic semi-active version reserved for the higher-spec GT model. As for the rear, both the CB and GX get an electronically adjustable shock to match the fork, meaning you can tweak the rear preload on the move. Just hit a button to switch between comfy urban riding, sporty response, high-speed stability, or extra control in the rain. Front preload adjustment, however, is still manual. For braking power, all three use dual 4-piston radial calipers up front, Nissan on the CB, Brembo on the GX, and Advix on the Tracer. The front tires are the same across all three, but Suzuki gives the GX a slightly wider rear tire. The CB has the lowest seat height, the shortest wheelbase, and the biggest fuel tank. When it comes to fuel consumption, the GX's slightly more performance-oriented engine, with higher power output and compression, means it burns more fuel than the CB and Tracer. So in terms of range, the CB goes the farthest and needs fewer gas stops. Then as for price, the GX is the most expensive at £14,500. The CB comes in at £12,000, while Yamaha takes a different approach with the Tracer. Unlike the others that force you into semi-active suspension, even on the base model, they actually let you skip it. The standard Tracer starts at £11,000, and if you want the electronic suspension, the GT version is around £14,000. So value-wise, the CB is hard to beat. For around £11,000, you already get semi-active suspension, knuckle guards, a center stand, heated grips, and even rear panniers included, features the rivals usually charge extra for. If you're after the most power, the GX is the one. It has the highest horsepower and torque, though it's also a bit heavier, drinks more fuel, and is definitely pricier. And if you want something different from an inline four and a little easier on the wallet, there's the Tracer. It might not have the same top-end rush because of its smaller displacement, but that triple engine delivers strong, punchy low and mid-range torque that makes it super fun to ride and full of character. Plus, you can skip the semi-active suspension if you don't need it.